What is up, you guys? It is Reversal. Welcome back to another episode of Knights and Dragons. And today I'm here to actually talk about you guys about a image that got sent in the community. And so many people were actually convinced that it's real, but unfortunately it's fake. And that's this picture which we're talking about. It's the glorious cluster of endurance, and as you guys can see, it's a pretty impressive looking ring. It is a 5-star apparently, with over 1,000 attack and defense and over half 1,000 health as well. And if you add those together, you're going to be getting an attack stat of almost 6,000 and a defense stats of a little bit more, over 5,000, and the health 1180. That's actually really crazy. If stuff like this were to be happening in Knights and Dragons, I can bet you a lot of people were quitting the game. The fact of the matter is, obviously this is fake, but still, some people were really thinking it was real and actually starting a discussion with me why it would be real. And I'm here to kind of give you guys some counter arguments why I believe stuff like this is always going to be fake. Now, you don't have to believe me, it's just an opinion really. And I'm pretty sure that this is fake. I didn't speak to Gree about it because I just don't think it's, worthy of being discussed with Gree. Because I've been playing Knights and Dragons for almost a year now. I've been playing similar games like Knights and Dragons, and there's one thing I can tell you guys in conclusion. Games like Knights and Dragons are all about balance. And if there isn't a good balance in the game, then the game's gonna fall apart and people are gonna be losing interest. So if you make people too overpowered, it means that people that aren't overpowered are gonna be, bored with the game, probably won't feel like playing anymore, and then eventually quit the game. And there's no excuse there. It's the same thing with Knights and Dragons. I mean, it happened in the past before. I don't see why it wouldn't be happening again. So why do I talk about balance here? Well, let me actually show you guys something to prove my point here, why those rings are fake. And then we're gonna move on to the next subject, okay? So these rings over here, let me actually get the right ring over here. You got a 1-star. Now I have a 3-star ring. So let me actually go to my rings. And the stats of this ring is 66 defense and 22 health. And if you take my ring, it's a 3-star with 84 attack and 25 health in this case. So what does that tell us? Basically what that tells us is the stats of a 1-star and a 3-star isn't really far apart. So like a 3-star and a 5-star, I mean, in armors I can kind of understand, because armors for 3-stars are ridiculously outdated right now. They're actually outdated by a year. But still, regardless of that, if you take the first few epics out there was no way the difference in the first level was that big. I mean, it would probably go bigger over time when we're talking about actually leveling up the armors and then the end results and stuff like that. But no way in the beginning they would have been so far apart. So that actually, I think, it proves my point about the fact that that 5-star ring is a fake. But let's actually talk about balance here, because I feel that it actually is a pretty interesting topic to be talking about. Because some people don't seem to be using their head whenever they're going to be spreading things out like a fire. Because I literally got more than 10 people trying to convince me that this was a leak and that this was real and stuff like that. And I was like, if you're just looking at the image yourself and you do some brain work, then you would already realize that this isn't real. And that's not to offend you guys, but some people get too overhyped for their own sake in everything that they're doing. Like, I have a friend, right, in real life, and whenever someone tells him that something's happened, he immediately goes tell everybody, look what happened to this person. Well, it might just not really be true, or he over exaggerates it, like he makes it bigger than it is, like it's a mosquito but he turns it into an elephant. I mean, we all have those people, but those people are also here in Knights and Dragons, and this is understandable. You guys are amazing people and I love all of you guys, but still, I'm just trying to make a point here. Balance is very important for a game like Knights and Dragons. Now let's actually talk a little bit more specifically about Knights and Dragons, and in terms of balance in a way you guys can understand and relate to what I'm talking about, right? So a game like Knights and Dragons is all about balance, because you gotta make sure to keep two parties stimulated. You gotta make sure that you keep things interesting for two parties. And the first party is the members that are paying for the game. So those are people that spend gems on a game like Knights and Dragons, basically are the heart or the source of Knights and Dragons, because without those players, the game would not exist. So the free players, actually in that sense, have nothing to complain about, because they should just take it for what it is and thank all of the paying players for, you know, making the game exist to the point where it is today. That is the fact of reality. But we know that is not entirely the case, because a lot of people are bothered with people who pay too much for the game. But that's a story for another time. Then you also got the free player. The free player needs to be stimulated, because if you don't stimulate a free player, they're gonna be underappreciated, they're not gonna be feeling any interest anymore in the game, and eventually they'll just quit. And that's the same thing with the paid player. So in this case, you got two teams to keep satisfied. So the way to keep the paid player interested is by releasing new content in which they can pay for, which isn't too ridiculously expensive but is still relatable. So in this case, for Knights and Dragons, that would be better rings, better armors, better everything, because they want to be the very best like no one ever was. That's straight from the Pokemon lyrics. But that's the fact of the matter there, you know, that's the way it is, and that's the way it probably will always be. So the way for Gree to make things interesting for the pay player is by throwing in a awesome thing that people can buy. So for example, new chests and stuff like that, and new armors and all of that good stuff, in which people are gonna be like, hey, I want to be getting that. So in order to get that, I'll have to pay something in order to get that, which is understandable, definitely understandable. I used to be like that too. I can perfectly relate to you guys. And then you also have to stimulate the free-to-play player. And how are you going to be doing that? Because people who are paying for the game are always going to be getting better stuff, right? So what you're gonna have to do here is make sure that the free-to-play player is also getting things that are better. So in this case, what is better is rings. Rings, first of all, is already better because it's new and exciting and nobody has them yet. So everybody's gonna be all hyped and excited, be like, wow, I want to be getting all of those rings for all of my knights and try to fuse them away and get something deliciously awesome. That is one way to do it. The next thing to do it is by throwing in an event like heroic mode, because then people are gonna be like, hey, oh my god, we're able to get a free epic. That is absolutely insane. The third way is the Epic Boss Collection event. Oh my god, we're able to get some free keys. We're able to get the plus versions of the epics right now. And that's not the only way. The last way is fusible epics. And surprisingly enough, you guys probably didn't even realize this, but fusible epics is a great way to keep the game balanced. Because, you know, new players, I mean paid players, are always getting better armors out there for the war, for the arena, for epic raids, for chests. They're always going to be getting better epics that were there. Well, not arena. Arena is a different story. But they're always getting better epics out there than there already were. So, you know, they are good in that sense. But free-to-play players, you know, they'll just have to guess, like, when are they going to be getting something better? So fusible epics is a great way to do that, because, you know, they're not necessarily able to get the plus version of the armor, but they're still able to get the regular version of the armor. So that is the way how balance is made in Knights and Dragons. That is the way how free players are getting satisfied, and that's the way how paid players are getting satisfied, and that is how you're finding balance in the game. Now, going back to the topic which we initially talked about, the rings, if you were to be placing a ring like that in, then only the paid players would be getting a huge benefit into the game, which would be a very bad thing. And in return, the result of that action is going to be that the free players, including myself, somewhat, in quotations, is going to be pretty unhappy with that. So that's just my take on that. I don't know what you guys have to say about that. If you feel I left anything out, just leave a comment in the comment section down below. Also, let me know what you think about the subject. Do you think my theory is right? Do you feel that there can be some improvement here and there? I don't know about you guys, but this is just me speaking from my mind. I don't have a script or anything, so I probably left a ton of things out there that I wanted to discuss there, but I feel, you know, this is a good topic to talk about. So for now, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, make sure that if you guys like this video to boom, give it a thumbs up. And that being said, this has been Reversal for Knights and Dragons. I'm gonna be signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next one.